Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Total War Pharaohs, the next installment in the Total War series, developed by Creative Assembly Sophia, the developers of Total War Troy. This is their next crack at a fully fledged title, and I'm going to go ahead and call this a fully fledged title because they're charging £50, the same as Total War Warhammer 3, the same as Total War Warhammer 2, and just about double the price of the previous Total War Warhammer 3 DLC. Obviously I kid, but if they're going to be charging this much, I think it's only fair to go ahead and judge this as a fully fledged title. And yeah, they were kind enough to go ahead and give us a 60 turn build as Ramsey, so there is only one playable character at the moment in this build. However, I believe on launch there are 4 Egyptian lords, there are 2 Hittites, and there are 2 other lords as well from a different culture. And the campaign map itself pretty much ranges from the kind of bottom of the Nile all the way up into Turkey, and I imagine there's lots of room to expand on this campaign map, even though from my 60 turns playing I felt like it was actually a fairly good size. So I have also already completed this test build already. I wanted to have a good idea, and basically in this video I'm going to be running through the 60 turns. I'm going to of course put loads of edits in there so you guys don't have to watch every single turn, but we'll be able to hit on basically every single major feature of the game, all the new mechanics for at least a Ramsey, get a good look at battle sieges, so that you can have a better idea on when it comes to purchasing this game or giving it a miss or even waiting for a sale. And of course, if you enjoy this style of video, this type of content, please do go ahead and drop a like and a comment. I will of course be covering the game as well closer to launch. I believe it comes out next month in October, and this build is actually around about a month old, so this is a good indication of what the game will be. I imagine the past 2 months up until launch will be basically them cleaning up bugs and sorting out any major issues, but the overall contents of the game will be, you know, the same. So here we are in the character selection screen. You can see that we start off pretty much, you know, right by in the center of the empire. We are stewed to basically defend from the Hittites to the north, as well as push our claim on the west parts of Egypt, the rich lands around the Nile. And we get a little bit of a better idea about Ramsey as a character. We have these native units which are native to us on our faction, and we also have these faction units, which is a quite nice way to go ahead and diversify the lords. Every single Egyptian lord has a different set of faction units, which is quite cool, and obviously native units as well. So even though they are all of the, you know, Egyptian culture, they still do play and feel a bit different with the units that are made up. I feel like with a game that is so heavily focused around 1 to 2 cultures, you definitely need a wide variety of units inside of them factions, just to simply give that bit more of replayability. We also have custom buildings as well, which we'll get onto in the campaign. But one thing I really do want to point out, and one thing that I think is really good and hopefully makes it to future Total Wars as well, is this campaign customization. You can basically go in and change up any part of the campaign that you want to, and it's really cool that they're implementing this. I think giving the players this agency is really good. You can even go in and change up how the AI starts the game, how many bonuses they actually get. If you want the campaign just to basically play with the AI with no bonuses, that is something that you can do now. And if you want a bit more of like a realistic campaign, you can adjust that as well to get rid of some more of the arcadey features, and vice versa. If you want more of an arcadey campaign, you can go ahead and do that. So yeah, a really cool feature. Definitely hope to see this go forward and improved upon, and I definitely think that's something that players have been asking for a long time. Okay, so here we are in the campaign. This is Total War Pharaohs. If you zoom out, you can get a good little glimpse of what we've discovered. You can also see the kind of fog of war cultures as well, with the cultures being depicted by the different kind of symbols on the fog of war, which was quite nice. I think it looks kind of pretty right there. We have all our notifications on the right hand side, and these will pop up and we can basically move around these. We have the camera right there, the map over on the right hand side, with some bonuses up here as well that you can go ahead and see the current campaign effects that you're currently getting. Up here in the center bar we do have the food, stone, wood, bronze and gold. This is a return from Total War Troy and a feature I'm happy to see continued into Total War Pharaohs. I really like this about Troy. It's probably one of the only things I liked about Total War Troy, so I'm pretty happy to see it. You can also have all your mechanics here as well, from your victory objectives to your research to your diplomacy, and then the other stuff that you're going to be unlocking later on in the campaign. But of course we'll get onto that when we actually unlock them features. I don't want to really overwhelm everybody with everything the game has to offer right away. We'll just kind of get to it when we get to it, and I'll explain it when we get there. So let's start off with just clearing out this army and moving towards the next city. Of course we have our provinces. The province system is very similar to every other Total War game that we've played previously, but of course course, all the buildings cost like stone and other resources. So I guess it's a little bit different from like the Warhammer style where everything is just one resource. But of course, our first goal is to complete this region, and that is by conquering the lands to the north. Fairly easy. Creative Assembly always give you this really easy path towards conquering your first province to set you up before you do go diving into the campaign.
Our aim is true. Soldiers, move! War is my calling.
A pretty easy battle, nothing really too much to worry about. So after the battle, you also again continue to get this reinforcement screen where you can basically take one of 3 boons, I guess. Replenishment is always nice, especially when we are going to continue conquering. You actually have insane movement range at the beginning of the game. This also leads me on to the next point. So there are now a new outpost system in the game which are tied to the settlements. So you have these settlements, which you can see right here. I have the 2, and again, these can also be renamed, which is kind of a cool feature. Like to see that taken on from the previous Total War games again. But we also have this new system called Outposts, and these Outposts provide some pretty insane bonuses. You can go ahead and build a whole wealth of different buildings from them. Again, you can build some military ones, some administration, economic, and then obviously also religion. And when you basically move an army towards them, you get a big bonus. So for example, if I go ahead and pass through this fortress, I think it's basically a supply area, it's going to give me an additional 30% movement speed to my army, which of course is insane. There are also buildings as well that refund the amount of movement you spend as well going to these outposts. You can traverse pretty insane distances, and I definitely think there's going to be plenty of ways to abuse this mechanic. I'm sure Legend, if he does decide to play this, is going to make an absolute mockery of it, because yeah, there's some insanely strong ability can be acquired, and yeah, it's not even close. So we have just conquered our first province, and I think now is a good time to go ahead and dive in and actually take a look at the province screen, build some buildings, and move on from there. So as you can see, we have not the entire province yet. We are still missing one settlement, but unfortunately Ramses can't move that far. There are actually bonuses as well that you can do to refund it after winning battle and stuff. Yeah, anyway, there's lots of movement exploits, at least currently in the game. But the provinces, so the province system is pretty much the same. You spend this thing called workforce now, so growth is no longer a thing. It basically has been transformed into workforce, and you need a certain amount of workforce to build a certain tier of building. For example, a tier 3 building costs 3 workforce. However, there are plenty of ways, like most buildings actually I think do give some form of workforce bonus, at least a majority of the economic ones do. So let's go ahead and of course repair our settlement right there. We want to get that under control. We want to go ahead and build this settlement up from the rubbles, build that fishing ground, as it does give us plenty of food, and food is like the main thing when you want to have armies. So that leaves us with 3 workforce less, and you can actually see as well, the more workforce we have unused goes ahead and gives us a little bit more recruitment in the province, but it does also reduce the happiness. So ideally, you do want to be spending the workforce as much as you can. And then maybe when you do go into more of a late game, you want to get to the point where you can actually reduce the amount of workforce that you're producing, like get rid of a lot of them growth building. For now though, it is going to be super useful, so we're going to go ahead and utilize that. We have 3 left, so we could also upgrade our woodcutting complex, but this was something I really noticed is a lot of the improvements, like I'm going to spend basically like an entire turn's worth of growth, maybe even 2 turns worth of growth for an additional 10 wood. An additional 10 wood. Like some of these buildings are really poorly, I guess, balanced, where they just simply don't have enough of an improvement. Like I would accept maybe double. 60 still seems kind of low for an entire building slot, but it gives me 10, and I'm spending 350 stones, 60 wood. It's going to take, you know, what, 6 turns to simply repay itself on the resource it builds, let alone the growth where I could be spending that on upgrading other buildings. So yeah, there's some buildings which are really poorly balanced, and then some that just seem really good. So hopefully they go ahead and address that and improve that. We're going to probably spend on improving our bronze income as well by upgrading the bronze foundry right there off the bat. And we have 1 left. I don't think I guess we could build a tier 1 building right away. And we'll probably just go with the Commoner's Graveyard, get that happiness, get that influence up. Influence is pretty good if you can get it to the 80 to 100%. And again, the influence basically replaces the cultural bone. You actually end up with a really nice 10% boost to all your resources. So we'll be gaining, what, another 30%, or like, yeah, another 30 food, another free wood, and then also another 10 bronze, which again does add up. That can be the difference. And you can also notice as well, if a game does have a day and night cycle, which is quite nice to go ahead and progress through, you can adjust this as well in the campaign settings to make it go slower or even faster. Next, we have the text screen, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of the text screen. It really is a bit overwhelming to begin with and is just very muddled. You can kind of go from every direction and work towards certain things. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. From playing it for 60 turns as well, I feel like it's really hard to kind of get a clear idea of what you want to work towards and the stuff. There might be some stuff I'm like, oh, I really want to get that, but then there's other stuff that's just not really very interesting. We do have these icons now, which give us a good indication of if something's more of a civic boom or an economic or a military. But again, I'm personally just not the hugest fan of it. I would much prefer more of a clear tech path. But again, it's very little take on it, so it's good to try stuff new. Of course, we're going to take the happiness. It's always important to get happiness. Again, because you get some really, really good bonuses when you get your happiness up to the higher ranks. Big workforce growth, morale on recruitment as well, which is always a good bonus. Now, we do have some stone left to go ahead and build. Even though we don't have any workforce left, we do have the ability to build some outpost stuff, which is exactly what we are going to do. So over here, over in the I guess our capital, we actually do have some good bonuses to go ahead and pick on. And I think for the most part, we're going to want to go and build some extra buildings right off the bat. Is that these do give some really good bonuses, but you also want to kind of position them where your armies are going to be traveling so they can visit them and get extra bonuses. For example, we're going to want to go and definitely build this economic trading post here. It's going to give us a nice boost to all of our resources in the region, not the province, just the region. But this province right here is producing, or this region, sorry, is producing 300 food. So we're going to be getting an extra 10% on that, which is, yeah, really, really good. Over on our borders, we'd be maybe a bit more inclined to build some military infrastructure. And again, we could get some really insane bonuses as we move through there. And I think I'm going to stick down a Shrine of Ra there. That's going to help me along with my religion, which we'll get onto in a little bit. I want to take a quick moment, however, to talk about today's video sponsor, Enlisted, a new type of first-person shooter with a unique combination of both PvP and PvE combat. You can take command of a squad of customizable AI and fight in massive battles, fighting alongside hundreds of targets led by other players, which is personally a feature I absolutely love. I've always been such a big fan of games that stick you right into the thick of it in large-scale engagements. Enlisted has top-tier graphics and details with authentic sounds and a huge amount of detail poured into the weapons, vehicles, and it even looks great on lower-end machines. You can play through multiple campaigns featuring their own unique weapons and vehicles, battle from the outskirts of Moscow in 1941 to the heart of Berlin in 1945. This campaign system feels like a completely new experience every time you play it, facing unique weapons and equipment and vehicles, as well as locations. Enlist right now on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, or previous console generations using my link in the description, and claim your free bonus pack, which includes multiple weapons, soldiers, and a premium account to get you started. Okay, so we are a little bit further on in the campaign now. I've gone ahead and completely finished up my region. It honestly was not really a fight. It just had five units, which we quite handedly dispatched of. And now we have a decision to make. Where do we want to go with our armies? Do we want to kind of make our way more towards central Egypt and get access to the wonderful bonuses of the Nile itself? Or do we want to go more into the mountainous areas to the south? And I think that is already pretty obvious what we should be doing, making our way over to the resource-rich lands to the west. We also obviously want to get access to stone, which we have zero production of, and also access to more food as well. These fisheries are going to be invaluable. We also have some other buildings. I went ahead and got rid of that really poorly produced wood province or building, and we went ahead and built our Temple of Ra, which is already giving us way better stuff. The extra resource production is nice and helps to stack. We're going to go ahead and increase it even more to the Ra's Temple. Now, that is a lot of our workforce we've been spending on this, but it's going to 100% be worth it. Our army is now moving back down. I've built up to 14 soldiers. And yeah, we're just going to go down and we're going to get all of these bonuses as we go down. With the extra 30% movement range, it's just absolutely insane. And we're going to be over there to the west in absolutely no time. Able to look back. Look how much more we can move. I mean, I can go into force march as well. Yeah, there's some like insane movement mechanics. And just by visiting all these outposts, you can stack just, yeah, crazy bonuses. Right now, we're losing a lot of our food because our army's just slightly too big. Boom, we're now making 300 because of the 20% reduction. And we also got a bunch of movement back as well. Like, you could just go from one side of Egypt to the next. It's, yeah, pretty disgusting. And there are 3 skills to level up. I basically see them as like more of an aggressive army one, more of a like kind of logistics one, and then we also have more of like a speed moving one. And if you guys know anything, it's all about the speed in Total War games, being able to move your army, especially with already how much movement you can get in this game. We're definitely going to go with like the crane down here in the south, and every 5 levels you get an additional bonus. So for example, we have 3 skill points. We can go ahead and upgrade that, and now all of a sudden our army gets 10% movement range, which is very nice. But then also all the units in his army gets a +4 to charge, which is pretty good. The next one gives the entire army a charge ability, which is breakthrough charge, which again is pretty good. And then the next one is an even better version of that as well. So it kind of goes and improves it. We can enable night battles, which is always good for taking the enemy out of control. However, we're also going to probably work towards the upkeep version as well, because we also can apply medals. And as you can see, there is a number and a picture corresponding with the level up screen right here. So obviously, if you're a smart man, you've already guessed it, you're going to need certain amounts of this to go ahead and activate these. And they're pretty decent. For example, this gives my Sheridan units, which I believe are my Javelins Vanguard deployment, which again isn't anything too massive, but can be quite useful. And you also get extra bonuses to your army. Again, if I was to go for more of the military one, which again is not bad, more of the, I guess, the red path, we also gain access to this one, which is just 8 melee defense for the army. It's just pretty nice, and we can apply that, and you can basically stick one of every single rank. There are some that require multiple, and again, they give some good bonuses as well, like influence, ammunition, speed for chariots isn't bad, and the higher tier ones are pretty good as well. Construction cost is really nice. Another kind of cool thing about Total War Pharaohs as well is you can customize your bodyguard by the equipment. So for example, you can see we go from having a composite bow bodyguard, and I get rid of that, to a sword and shield bodyguard. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a sword or anything along them lines right there. But again, you can basically customize the bodyguard, which I thought was kind of cool. And yeah, that's basically going to be how you level up all of your generals. We have got the choice though to pick another technology, and we're going to probably work towards this right here, just an extra 10% food. That basically means we get to have more soldiers, more armies, and yeah, I mean, I guess we just go ahead and stand on the border. I mean, he's got a fairly decent army inside that settlement, so we might be waiting here a little while, but with all of these bonuses, I actually don't mind too much, and if he wants to sally out and attack me, he's more than welcome to. Something to notice as well in the game is down here we have a 6-turn cycle. So every 6 turns, the game goes through an entire cycle, and each of these give you a certain bonuses. So right now we are currently in the growth season, so recruitment is a little bit cheaper. As we go through to the harvest season, we're going to be getting way more food and kind of stockpiling for the winter. And then we go back to the flood season, where movement on sea is a little bit faster, and you get a bit more food as well from the Nile as well. I think it's only active, yeah, around the Nile, which is a pretty interesting take as well. So this is something to keep an eye on. And actually, as the game does progress and we start to get the destruction of the Bronze Age, a lot more negative stuff does happen. Again, that's going to be really affected by the seasons as well. But again, we'll just get onto that when we get onto that. The next thing we have is these ambitions. These are basically missions that pop up and basically tell you to go and do something depending on your leader. And now, I'll say this, and I'll say this for the millionth time, I don't understand how they have not made it so you can minimize this. Maybe I'm just blind and there is a way. But one of the things that infuriates me is the same for basically every Total War game is the fact that I can't minimize this. I can't minimize this and take a look at my empire and be like, oh, okay, we're actually really close to constructing this type of building, or I'm really close to actually going ahead and conquering a settlement of any person's settlement. I'm really close to building a production to get this bronze. I can't do that. I'm stuck here to basically make a decision and try and remember, and it's really silly. I should be able to minimize this, oversee, see what ones I need and see what ones I'm possibly going, because I can't even see my resources as well. I could be like about to run out of bronze and I can't even see it. It's something that should just be in the game. But these missions are, you know, kind of nice. They pop up every so often. You can basically just kind of get some extra bonuses. Then again, the food actually would be nice. So we'll just do that. I mean, it's going to be very easy to go ahead and conquer the settlement. Even though our boy is building up, it shouldn't really be too much. So what we're going to do is we're just going to encamp, and I'm going to recruit a couple more soldiers. We're going to get some more heavier infantry. And you can see, again, because I put them level ups in, we actually get some extra unit rank as well, which is nice. I also still have the bonuses. So we're going to wait another turn and then probably put some pressure on the settlement itself. And nice, now we have access as well to local deities. These are going to give you some really good bonuses. You can basically go ahead and dictate yourself to a certain god. There are several gods for each of the factions. You can see them right here as we make our way over. So every faction has a set of gods, and they give you bonuses. You have to go ahead and basically discover the other ones to be able to dedicate yourself to the faction. So you can really, again, specify your faction, which is nice. Right now, Ramsey is in support of Ra, which is pretty good. A little bit more melee defense. We gain access to a better workforce growth, which is always good. If we pray at the devotion shrines, we go ahead and get the morale bonus along with the resistance to missiles. And then if we devote a general, we get even more bonuses to the army, which is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to go ahead and devote Ramsey to that god. So now Ramsey gets just insane bonuses to that. Already tier 2. If we get to tier 3 of a devotion, it gets that even bit better. So his army should be absolutely ready to tear through the enemy. Okay, so because we have completed an entire cycle of the game, the first 6 turns, we go ahead and get access to some extra features of it. We get access to the local deities, which we saw last turn. And again, you can unlock more of these to pray to more gods, and there's other pillars that are really useful to go ahead and actually utilize that. We also get to take a look at the pillars of civilization as well now. This is kind of a glimpse of the world, if it's prospering, if it's in collapse. And every faction also gets extra bonuses as well. So right now, the law and industry is helping us over in the kind of Egyptian lands. The sea people are getting a massive boost to their movement, and then the nomadic tribes are getting the extra bonuses to their attrition. So again, it's a nice little event, kind of just giving people, and this will slowly decline the more negative stuff that happens in the world. And it's kind of almost like a ticking time bomb, which you have to go ahead and progress through. Okay, so the army is ready, and what we're actually going to do is I am going to declare war on this faction. We're going to make sure that they pay. We want to, of course, get our army stuck in. We have the advantage as well in the war. They luckily don't have any allies either, and we have no real need to trade, but we want to obviously utilize the bonuses whilst we have them, the extra morale that our army's getting, the damage reduction in missiles. He does have 20 units, but that's kind of fine. We're going to move in, and we could also make our way all the way up here as well if we wanted to. The movement is just, yeah, pretty crazy. We could also continue to get that buff as well, which we might as well do. We might as well go back, get that bonus, and realistically what I should have been doing is just moving around and getting all the bonuses. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we can make it up here. This is our normal move, right? However, we can probably push our way in and just set him under siege right away. And you'll actually notice something cool here. So we actually have an outpost garrison that is supporting this settlement in this battle. And that's from this fortress right there. And the fortresses are pretty cool. I think I have one down here in the south. Yeah, right here. And you can actually basically build up an army here. If you have a general, you can transfer units to it. And it will basically act as a secondary garrison for the settlement. It will reinforce it in times of sieges. So you can basically build up your own private garrison for a settlement, which is kind of cool. The one thing I think is kind of stupid that you can't do is you can't recruit soldiers directly into it. You actually have to get a general, recruit the units, and then go and send them to the garrison, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity. It'd be cool if I could just recruit soldiers here to add to the garrison myself to build up the army. And I think at this point we do just want to go ahead and dive in and actually fight this battle. This will be a good example of the overall kind of battle system in the game. You guys can get a good idea about it, and honestly just like sieges in general. So this isn't obviously a bigger siege. The sieges are, I would say, pretty much like the actual siege setup is very similar to previous Total War games. And we actually get quite a nice screen right here. So this is going to be dictating the weathers. We can decide to wait if we want to, if we don't want to maybe suffer the sandstorm. I don't think we want to suffer the sandstorm, so we're going to try and get some good weather. Again, yeah, nice. So it basically goes into a sweltering heat option. This is a minor settlement right here, and again, it's pretty basic. One of my biggest complaints, and I probably mentioned this in the cinematics in the previous battle I showed off, is the campaign map is so small. Sorry, the battle map. It's so small. Like, I love the designs of the settlements, but look at this. Like, look at this. It's tiny. I'm already at the edge. Look at it. Like, I don't know why they couldn't have just extended these out like an entire another quadrant. You know, just double it on every single side. yeah, by far my biggest complaint when it comes to battles is the sheer size of the map. They got really interesting and cool design, but the fact that they have this massive reduction in the actual size of the battle maps severely hampers the tactics you can do, and I think it's done on purpose. It's to basically bottleneck the player into going one direction, because that's all you can do. And I think that, again, that's done to speed up battles, get people back into the campaign, continuing on and progressing through. So again, the players to actually just finish up a campaign, you know, instead of just restarting every, you know, couple days. And there's really cool effects, like there's tall grass and there's mud and there's like rain that can develop stuff. Like all this new battle stuff is really cool, but yeah, the maps are just, they're just so small, and I'm not a fan of it whatsoever, because I actually think as well they've done a good job of improving the battles in general as well. Like the actual battles feel fine, they don't feel like amazing, like the best thing ever, but they are definitely an improvement on the previous build we played, and they feel a little bit better. Units aren't as floaty, faction, you know, kind of, they do kind of get stuck in, the animations are better, and units aren't just like hitting mid-air as much as they were, which is nice. It's a good improvement. But yeah, again, I'm just, yeah, really not a big fan of the sheer size, and I think it does hamper the battles in general. But I will say, as again, give it praise where praise is due, the battles do feel a bit better, and hopefully, you know, you guys will see a little bit more and be able to make a good addition for yourself. I'm so glad they added in these flags as well, back into the game as well. Previously, these flags weren't in the game, and it was just these little bubbles at the top, which, yeah, let's just say, look it's not good without them. I think you could even do something like that, get rid of the health bars as well, to really add in a little bit more, like get rid of the general portrait and the tooltips and the banner bars as well, and just rock like this. I think this is honestly probably the best looking part of the game. There are also no towers as well in these minor settlement battles. You basically are tasked with taking 2 victory points or defeating the enemy army. The victory points go ahead and provide each side with a little bit of a bonus, but again, nothing too crazy. It is pretty much just a big old fight. Something I've noticed massively in this build is the AI does love to sally out and charge you as soon as you start to skirmish. The AI does become pretty aggressive and looks to get in your face pretty much as quickly as possible, which is fine, I guess. I don't know why they're not so defensive. I guess because previously the AI always used to get absolutely just demolished in this initial phase and just get skirmished to death, so I guess it's a way to counter that. But again, I feel like they're maybe a bit too aggressive, and hopefully this is something that is tweaked in the battle. So again, we're starting the battle at 57-33. They're also ignoring my units there. We're going to get all of our archers to hit their missiles if we can, with our general as well. And we're just going to hold the line here and just basically tear them apart, get our charges in on our shock infantry where we can, which again should be pretty decent to watch. And we'll get some nice little close-ups of the combat so you guys can see how it actually feels as two sides do clash. There are locked animations, not as many as maybe I would like, but I think we do see a lot more kind of back and forth than we did in the previous build of the game. There's a lot less floaty units. Now, units can still like run through one another to an extent, but again, it is much more heavily reduced, and there's a lot more of this like sticking, staying power of units. Units feel a bit heavier. Again, still not as much as I personally would like. I'd like units to feel way heavier as they get stuck in, way more, I guess, sluggish. And again, we are fighting in some mud here as well, right? Yeah, we got some mud here as well, which I think adds a nice little bit of extra flavor to the battle. We could also just throw up here. Yeah, we just got slingers up here, which we might as well go and chase with some of our extra infantry. Our front line is doing good, and we have some reinforcements. So let's maybe send some extra soldiers around the side. It's also getting a bit darker as well. The battlefield is turning in. Oh, they actually managed to get in on some of my units here as well, my javelins. Let's go and, yeah, reinforce this. The missiles keep on firing in on their missiles. Want to make sure that they are getting taken down. My front line is doing okay, and we're going to turn on a few more of the icons as well. But yeah, let me know as well in the comments what you guys prefer when it comes to the cinematic stuff as well. Okay, we should be able to get these out of here now, and then you fight. So yeah, you'll probably notice here as well, like the stickiness of units. Like, units do get stuck in now. Not all the units can run away. You can like drag a unit away to try and run it as best as you can. But again, some of it does get stuck on it. And there are a few issues, but I think it is much better right there. Again, nice. Our clubmen got stuck in there on the slingers, which should be good. They should be able to rip them apart, utilizing them heavy weapons just to cut them down. I will note as well, though, in the battles, is like units do tend to get a little bit stuck as they run through friendly units as well. So like I'm bringing these archers around, and ideally I guess I should have brought them back and then around, which I guess necessarily isn't the worst thing in the world. Ramsey is also getting shot as well, so let's bring him back. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more like back and forth with the units and maneuvering them as well. Takes a little bit of extra time. Again, which I kind of like. I kind of like that units are as a lot more sticky than they were in previous iterations. Nice, our crossbowmen have one there. Let's bring them around, get our javelins to help finish this off, and we basically have this battle under our control. I've also noticed as well that units don't tend to retreat and come back as often as they were. Now, again, that could just be this test build, that they're currently trying something like that. But yeah, I really have noticed that units do tend to, if they rout, tend to go a lot further. Or if they do, it doesn't really impact the battle much. Like, this unit has come back, but they are on a defensive siege, so it doesn't make sense. But that's exactly what they're doing. Like, at least in like land battles, I feel like it is way better. Like, land battles feel much more like if a unit routs, it doesn't come back like instantaneously. There's a lot more time, and they can maybe make it back to the battle in time. But again, it's not going to be a necessity. It's going to be something that is 100% going to be happening, which I kind of like. I kind of like that that's the thing. I would also like to see more killing, though, as well, as units do rout. So I'd like to see a lot more, like, if a unit routs, it takes heavy casualties as it does do that. I think that would be a nice addition to it, just to basically kind of punish them units that are routed and surrounded. I'd like to see, numbers drop way quicker than they do. But overall, the battle lasted, what, 10 minutes for what was that, like a 2,000-man battle? Yeah, I had 2,000, so a 5,000-man battle lasted about 10 minutes. Again, I would always love it to last a little bit longer. I think 15 minutes is probably a good medium there for a large-scale battle like this, but we also do have early game units, so that's something to at least take into account. But the battles aren't super fast whatsoever, so honestly, I'm fine with it. I'd like to see them longer. I'd like to see units kind of being a little bit tankier and be a bit more back and forth, but again, I'm not like upset by the length of that or, the scale of the battle. Like, it is fine. So by actually conquering that settlement, we also did discover a brand new deity as well, which we could go ahead and worship if we have a spare slot to it. Yeah, we've unlocked this one right here, which gives us a bit more happiness in the province, which again, is honestly pretty decent, especially when you conquer a new settlement. Ramsey also leveled up. We still haven't locked any melee weapons, so I can't change in that. But we can also work towards this extra upkeep as well. The 10% upkeep is just godlike. Having more armies to go ahead and conquer stuff is going to be really important. And we also gained the extra 1,000 food and the Path of a Conqueror, which is nice. As well as unlocking all these outposts. So we're going to be able to make our way over here to gain the extra upkeep. We can make our way over here to transfer some units, and then obviously push towards this capital before he can rebuild up. We definitely want to spend what little stone we have on improving this so we can get to the next tier and improve our stone mine immediately. Again, though, it's such a small improvement, right? It's such a small improvement from 175 to 225. Like, okay, a couple of turns on, and I think I'm ready to finally start my next war as well. I basically spent the past couple of turns just conquering up and securing this region. There was nothing really that interesting. We have a decent amount of territory right off the bat. And then we go in and we basically smash this army whilst we can. Like, it's right here raiding me, so they're kind of asking for it. And then we'll be able to move on and, yeah, finish up this province because there's only one more settlement left for us to get. We clearly have the advantage, and we're going to come in, we're going to absolutely demolish this army. And we'll get another little good idea. I don't even need to. Wow. We are playing on the normal difficulty, so the auto-resolve is maybe a little bit kinder to us than on very hard or legendary, which are options that currently aren't in this build, but I would only assume are going to be in the game in general. We're going to take on the extra replenishment and then make our way over to conquering his settlement and hopefully utilizing our outpost to do that. Yeah, look how much movement we have. It's actually, yeah, you could just, I feel like I'm playing like Scarbrand or the Brass Bull, which I guess does add some extra bonuses to it. We'll go ahead and grab this supply, gain some movement back, and then make it into enemy territory. We could even go ahead and raid some of his buildings, but again, after killing his army, he's not really going to put up much of a fight. We could sack it with the idle workforce, obviously a little bit of of a bug right there. Yeah, we'll sack it. Why not? Even though we're going to have to probably repair it nonetheless. And then just make our way over towards the main settlement with our army. We are now level 7 as well. So we must be getting closer to tier 2s if we want to. So this is recruitment cost and upkeep. Whereas this is damage against large, which I imagine is like chariots. There's no mythical units in the game. We could also try and get aura size and happiness in any of these. Don't think it's going to be worth it though. So let's maybe just continue to work towards our movement range one. Yeah, the extra movement speed is just... Yeah, it seems like the Emperor himself, or the Pharaoh, I should say, is offering me a trade. 4,000 food. Again, I don't know what's my food. Yeah, we have so much, and I don't really want to give up my gold. We don't have any income right now. But also, no, something I haven't really messed around with is the diplomacy. It seems like people are desperate for my gold right now. I haven't really found the need for like actually utilizing the diplomacy too much. Like no one's really felt too much of a pressure, but again, keep in mind that this is more of a press build. We're playing on medium difficulty, so as someone who has thousands if not tens of thousands of hours in Total War, like, you know, it's not really going to be challenging, you know, too challenging, I guess. And also I feel like the game itself is really built to give you that early game feel of like, yeah, everything's going swimmingly, and then they progressively give you more and more end game stuff happening with the invasions from Greece and the natural disasters, the earthquakes, the famines, the plagues, and that's really supposed to challenge you into the mid to late game. Okay, so we also have some brand new mechanics just being unlocked to us as another cycle does complete as we enter in turn 12. We get access to the power of the crown, and this is going to basically be us setting our eyes whether we want to go to the Hittite royal traditions and unlock them. That's going to give us certain bonuses which we're going to be able to utilize, certain units and traditions and other buildings that we're going to be able to build up. We have to obviously deal with their court and stuff, or we could of course go with the Egyptian one, which is exactly what we're going to be able to do. So our main source of legitimacy is just holding more Egyptian land, owning certain monuments, and obviously obtaining victory positions. Again, you can see the certain type of crown we can go ahead and give ourselves as well. This is going to give us plenty of different abilities. We have the Pharaoh's powers. Once we become Pharaoh, we're going to be able to pop these pretty powerful abilities as we progress our way through the court. And you can see the different types of court positions as well as the legacies. And again, these are all going to give us certain bonuses. We're going to unlock legacies, I think, in a turn or two, which is good. And there you go. Here we go right now. This is currently the Pharaoh. He's pretty old. Don't know how long he's gonna survive for. And there's also a bit of a civil war going on inside the lands, which we could just decide to join, but we're gonna kind of build our way up a little bit more. I think I maybe want to conquer kind of this northern land first before we do decide to maybe make a play for the throne itself. But we also unlock our legacies, which again is a pretty interesting mechanic. So this is something we can pick. We can only pick one of them, and each of them are going to give us a completely new mechanic to mess around with. For example, the Conqueror one is going to basically give me the ability to launch a massive invasion and work towards that by getting extra bonuses, getting the natives to support me, and it's basically an entire mini game in of its own. We have the Merchant, which allows me to send basically Cathayan trade convoys around the map, which is kind of cool. We have the Religion one, which gives us extra religions. We can basically mix them to get even more bonuses from the gods. And we also have the Builder, which is going to basically require us to go and conquer the pyramids and do loads of other stuff as well, which again is pretty cool. I think we're going to go with the Builder. This is going to take a little bit of a while to fire up, as we of course don't own any of these right now, but hopefully we can build up towards them, and we can obviously start to build the actual monuments themselves. You know, I feel like the Egyptians are so well known for their building, but it feels like this is going to be, you know, we're going to build these great statues and obelisks and pyramids that will, you know, last many a year. We also get access as well to the Egyptian courts. The right here we can attempt to try and sway people in our favor to help basically boost them towards us. We can do a whole wealth of stuff like assist, gossip against people, hire elite warriors, put army wages to try and fight one another. We can threaten, blackmail. It's a kind of a cool political system inside the Egyptian kingdom, which, you know, I'm definitely not opposed to. And if you can obtain any of these positions, they each give you different bonuses such as legitimacy and other bonuses like gold. We get extra soldiers down here by being in this position. So ideally we want to go ahead and get stuck in here as quickly as possible. And basically whatever you do here, it's going to take 6 turns to fire off. So we're going to just gossip, try and get a few people on our side during the event. The power of the crown is currently going on for a bit of a civil war. We could join in the civil war if we want to. Obviously not ready quite yet. We're busy, we're busy sieging, and as I said, maybe want to conquer a little bit more of this Nile land to get that food up so we can build a secondary army and go on from there. Okay, so sieges. The actual battle map is pretty nice. Like the sheer scale of it is decent. You can definitely have some large scale engagements. There's a handful of paths. There's these interesting designs with choke points to defend and push back the enemy, which is pretty cool. Like I'm a big fan of it. But once again, like why is this outer deployment zone so small? You have this kind of cool settlement, but there's like no room to maneuver. You can easily see people coming and maneuvering around, and yeah, again, I just don't see, like I'm so closed in here. I don't really see why it's so necessary. Like that's probably my biggest complaint, honestly, about this this mode in general. I like the fact that you can like muster a nice amount of soldiers. You can have some pretty large scale sieges like in this. Again, the AI had barely any soldiers, and they have the ability to get a huge garrison and plenty of reinforcements inside the garrison city and stuff, so that's always a big bonus. But yeah, and the settlement is large enough as well for them to defend on several sides and stuff, so that's really cool. I don't understand that. Also, it's kind of annoying. I can't decide when I sap the walls. I can't decide. It is just a simple like click of a button, like you press that and it saps. There's no way for me to like decide I want to destroy that by deploying a sapping wall or anything along them lines, which is yeah, a little bit lame. It would have been cool to have that ability. Again, the siege equipment looks fine. Like I like the look at some of these Egyptian siege towers. The battering ram looks nice and unique, and then also the ladders, just look like basically a ladder, nothing special. Basically, Total War Attila ladders, which is fine. Definitely not complaining. The walls also give some pretty good bonuses as well. So again, the defenders definitely have that edge going into the battle for sure. And of course, the most important thing is you don't have like the imaginable walls either, so you can't just randomly click up. Something I will mention though is I'm playing currently, at least on this build, on the ultra unit size. And there's only like 80 to 100 people in these units, where archers have about 90 soldiers in. So it seems like even the largest size battles are actually pretty small. And here we go again, like the AI sallies out. I don't really know what's up with this. They seem very, very aggressive when they're getting shot by missiles, just to immediately abandon the defenses and come flying out the gate. I don't know if this is a bug, if this is something that they've actually actively worked towards fixing, or what. But yeah, it seems really weird that the AI gets shot like a handful of times and they're like, nope, we're not having that. I'm going to come flying out the castle, give up all my defenses, and yeah, just kind of get surrounded and killed. So Siege AI definitely doesn't seem like it's has a massive improvement to it. Definitely hoping that is something that they will address as the game gets closer and closer to launch, or at least mention, if it is intended for the AI to do that, and maybe it's just a little bit over tweaked, which I think would be, fair enough at this stage. Because yeah, look at that. Just because they sallied out, I can just run through the gate now without having to destroy it. Like, what's the point of bringing that battering ram when I can just shoot a couple missiles and then go flying through the gate? I mean, actually, maybe I did destroy the gate. I don't know. My battering ram has disappeared now, so maybe my units did destroy it. I actually don't know. Either way, we can just come running through here now and finish up the siege. It was never going to be a hard one. Something you'll notice as well is as you do start to progress through the mechanics, and now we've unlocked the legitimacy as well, we are actually going to be gaining that the more land we take. We can also vassalize, raise, sack, and occupy. I think the idle worker thing's a little bit bugged, but maybe it's just showing what the AI has, and the AI has infinite building slots, which wouldn't surprise me, honestly. We are going to occupy it, but that's going to help out our legitimacy, boost it up, and obviously also give us access to this insanely large settlement that has no buildings. Okay, well, I think we know where all of our time is going to be spent. Is definitely going to be upgrading this. We'll hopefully have, we have some unique buildings here as well, which is kind of cool. Something that would actually be nice, honestly, is like actually having like this is specific to this region type of pin somewhere. Like, I've not seen the summer festival ground in any of my settlements, at least so far. So it'd be kind of cool to see that. We're going to definitely build that. We're going to also upgrade our lumber post. We have access to the mustering field as well. Again, I hate this about it is like these icons. If I'm like, oh, what building do I want to build to unlock some cool units? Oh, this one's a military one. Oh, sorry, this one's a military one. Oh, I wonder what it gives me. It gives me axe, sword, bow. it should just have the unit cards like they do in Warhammer Total War. I don't see why they don't have that. I feel like that's a no-brainer because I have no idea. But again, maybe they feel like the unit cards are a bit bland and like it doesn't show massive things. I don't know. Either way, I think they should show that for sure. Our next conquest is a couple turns on. We're on turn 17 right now. I'm just building up my main settlements, definitely utilizing the Nile. The Nile gets access to a whole wealth of actual food buildings, which we're really using, upgrading a few of our military buildings as well, so we can get access to some more upgrades. But I don't really feel like I need to upgrade this army, and we can now also utilize the sea to our advantage, or I say the sea, the Nile. So unfortunately, there are no naval battles in the game, which are a big disappointment, but we can utilize that to go ahead and attack our opponents and wage war in a very aggressive manner, which is kind of cool, even going through the mountains there. Of course, it means the AI can also utilize it against us, but we can basically just run through and start conquering lands very, very effectively. You also see as well that I actually am using different weapons as well. So this is a different new shield I've got and a new weapon, and it actually shows on the general, which is really cool if that's been modeled. I'm a big fan of that. That is a plus. Another thing I will mention, also another thing I do like, there are definitely positives I really am enjoying about the game and are a big step forward for. And I think the majority of the fun of this game will come into the mid game when the disasters start to happen and stuff as well. But I really like how I'm not so redundant, I guess, on units in general. Like, I can build as many armies as my food will basically allow me. You know, I can wheel and deal for food through diplomacy. I can heavily focus on upgrading just pure food building so I can have more soldiers. And I really like that about the game. I really like that. I feel like in Warhammer, Attila, Rome, you're really, they really do hamstring you as much as possible. And this is a nice workaround. This is a good thing going forward. And hopefully, again, it'll make it into future Total War games. So the time is upon us again. We've hit another cycle, so we can go over to our power of the crown. No, sorry, not power of the crown. We can go to the court and we can go and basically see how things did succeed. So we did discredit this guy quite a bit. That will give us some extra loyalty. Yeah, we actually ended up stealing some of his legitimacy, and we can also steal this position if we want to as well. We can claim it with some gold. Right, yeah, boom, right there. We are now up here, and it's actually a pretty powerful one. We get extra court actions, which is nice, which will, again, boost our legitimacy, which is good because then that will allow us to launch a civil war to then become the pharaoh. That, again, gives us some really good bonuses. If we go to the crown, you can see the higher legitimacy we have, the higher chance we'll actually have. Like, we have pretty much the highest legitimacy out of anybody. So I think, you know, it's very easy to become pharaoh, and then we can start doing some of these really good tier powers, which again just makes us super strong and really pushes us forward. So I actually, again, I'm saying a lot of really positive things about the game. Definitely are there. Like there's a lot of like cool, interesting things. Like especially in the mid to late game, they put a real focus on improving it. One of the things that hasn't been so good though is the army that I was I'm fighting this faction in the north, right here, and I saw his army, and I think he's gone all the way down south here to basically kind of circumnavigate and then cross the river here and then attack me in the north instead of just coming back and defending his settlements. Now I can basically move on his capital, I can move on his settlement over here, and yeah, he hasn't gone to defend it, which seems a bit stupid by the AI, honestly. Now he might come back up and try and take this back from me. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but yeah, again, we are playing on normal, which maybe you know, maybe is understandably why, but yeah, even still, we're basically just running through this without much opposition. So one of the reasons as well, if we dive into the court system a little bit more, one of the reasons you'll be wanting to make friends with people, discredit them, and do above bonuses is just make requests. This make request gives you some really good abilities once you have enough favor with someone. So for example, I could just get a 20% construction cost to all temples from this guy just because he likes me. I could also get extra favor, which is always good for pushing to your local deities. Unfortunately, we haven't quite unlocked another one at the moment, but we're not that far off, and we're actually not that far off leveling up our Ra deity to max rank, which again, huge bonuses to the army in of itself. Yeah, so look at this. We've just taken the capital again. There was no army there. It's a real shame. This faction is just not put up a fight. Their army ran away basically from us. Yeah, we can see one of their forces all the way over here. Like, I don't really know what it's doing. They have another settlement down here either, yeah. So the AI seemingly a bit lost, a deer in the headlights, unfortunately. But yeah, we have just unlocked this brand new ability, which gives us 20% movement restoration after we win a battle. So we can basically just, like, conquer and leapfrog our way through, especially if there's, like, settlements closer. Like, I wonder if these count as battles when you sack them and you could just basically leapfrog your way through. It's, like, crazy, crazy strong. We are also now this as well, so we can now assassinate people if we want to. We gain a bit more stats as well, which is always good. We're also going to use the treasurer's bonus now that he likes us to basically allow us to embezzle some money, as we are very low on gold and we don't have access to a gold mine right now, which is a real shame. A lot of the techs as well, the more I mess around with it, are really boring. Like, half the military techs are just missile infantry get 30% more experience. A little bit of ammunition there, but like over here, oh, look at that. Native units gain more experience. Oh, look at that. All army units gain more experience. Oh, look at that. Some recruitment rank. Like, it's really kind of boring. And just a little bit more upkeep. Like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, there's nothing here that's really that exciting. Just like modifiers and, yeah, extra gold, you know, like, I don't know. I think this is like one of the things that have let me down the most, I think, in my playthrough. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap up this part of the, at least first part. I'm going to continue this on in a second part, but it's probably going to be a bit more let's play and less edited compared to this part for sure. We got a good little glimpse of the game. We are, what, 20 turns in. We've conquered, made a good foothold for ourselves. Looking at the map, I probably should have conquered all of this as well before going into Egypt. But yeah, here are like my overall thoughts on the 60 turns I've already played and also the 20 turns that I've played here. This is kind of how Troy should have been, in my opinion. This seems like if they got they got more money and they got more development time, this is like something that Troy should have been. There's a lot more mechanics in the game, which is great. A big improvement, like and the thing is as well is like you unlock them as you progress through the game as well, which I think is nice. A lot of the famines and like the dark ages, as you do start to descend into the destructive states of the campaign, you know, more stuff will be happening. You'll start getting Hittite invasions, which will really curse your lands. You'll start gaining earthquakes and famines, and that will completely change up your campaign, and events will come with that as well for you to actually have to deal with them, which I think is really cool. I think it's fun that they're implementing kind of almost like this staggered campaign. Like the beginning of the campaign is a lot more calm, and then it's like, oh, okay, things are heating up now. So yeah, the overall campaign I think is decent. It's nothing special. There's nothing that blows me away. The buildings are a bit boring, I would say, like especially on minor settlements. I feel like great, I get to build like all of these crappy buildings, and I can't even get to this because I can't get to tier 3 because I have no stone. Granted, I only have 1 stone province, but even still, and I guess granted as well, I haven't been trading for it. There's probably ways I could do, but I feel like, yeah, resource like buildings are just like so underwhelming. Like, oh, I'm upgrading this stone mine, which I have to actually get to tier 3 in the first place to do it, and yeah, like boom, I've got an extra 50 stone. That's just really, really boring. A lot of the buildings, like with the unit upgrades as well, are like I feel like they should just have pictures here, which is nice. And a lot of the other buildings just are a bit boring and just not that interesting. I would say the building kind of does let the game down a bit, which is kind of a bit disappointing considering you're playing as Egypt. You know, it's all about building as well. Granted, I do like the not that we really used it in this part of the playthrough, but I do like the traditions. There's four to actually pick from, which is quite cool, and each of them do change up the campaign a little bit. Again, I feel like they're a bit gimmicky in a sense, but because like some of them don't really add that much flavor to the game, and others do. It's kind of a mixed barrel, I guess, and there's always going to be some that's better. But again, I like it that there's features. Again, each of these mechanics, from the power of the crown, which once you become Pharaoh, again, that's not like your end goal isn't to become Pharaoh. That's like your way on to finishing the campaign is you're Pharaoh, and now you get all these abilities and these thrones and these crowns and stuff. Like, that's cool. I like that. That's a big bonus in my books. These outposts just seem so pointless to me. Giving my complete honest feedback, these feel so just extra modifiers for no reason. They give you insane bonuses as you move through them. You get so much movement speed, which I guess is fine if you're trying to like speed up the campaign. And that's clearly what they're trying to do with Pharaohs, is they're trying to make it so that the campaign doesn't stagnate and you actually finish a campaign. That's clear. It's clear that you're here for player engagement. But I just feel like moving so far across the map by just getting all these insane, like about 20% upkeep is just insane. And yeah, I just feel like they're so gimmicky. Personally, not a fan of it. Again, you might be like, oh, it's actually kind of cool. I like that feature. I do like the way that you can like build these garrison outposts as well. It'd be kind of cool if the AI had to like maybe take the mini fort before going after one of your cities. Like it had a big zone of control or something. I think that would be cool. Unfortunately, they just get added to the actual fight, which is fine. Kind of a cool idea. But yeah, I feel like this could have been implemented a little bit better. And it's just like, yeah, a little bit more, I guess, just stuff to do for no reason. Already spoken about the tech tree quite a bit. Personally, not a big fan of this. So diplomacy does seem like it has been improved, at least for tweaking. Seems good. I'm not getting tons of requests. I can kind of go and do what I want to and not really be harassed by the AI as well, which seems fine. There are powerful abilities. If you're the pharaoh, you can also spend gold as well to basically just discover people's lands, which again, I think is a little bit silly, but you can just like see where all their armies are and stuff. But you know, personally, I really like as well the local deities as well. This is a cool system where you kind of worship gods and get certain bonuses, dedicate generals. This is kind of cool. I like this quite. So overall, I think the campaign is fine. Like it's good. They've added in some cool stuff. And again, I would say this, as you get to like turn 40 and onwards, the campaign definitely does get a bit more interesting. And I imagine on harder difficulties as well, you won't be able to like steamroll. I imagine if you're playing Ramsey on very hard or legendary, like you'll be getting attacked a lot in the south, and having to clear your back is pretty important. The Hittites will probably be launching loads more of assaults as well on you from the actual land border along the Middle East here. That whilst you're also trying to like vie for legitimacy inside the Egyptian Holy Lands and kind of sort yourself up so you can actually be emperor and then hold on to the emperor title is all going to be interesting. That that is good. That is a really good bonus. There are just some features in it which just seem like a bit just like needless and don't really add much, and it's clear that they take up like quite a bit of the gameplay as well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the campaign so far. And then we move on to battles. Battles were by far my most hated part of Total War Troy. I actually alt F4 the first time I played a Total War Troy battle. I just was like, oh, this is just boring. I just don't want to be here. There were units running through one another, and it just was in a really, really horrible state. Luckily, it did get better with launch and then the subsequent patches. And again, I think it's in a much better place in Total War Pharaohs. They've done a much better job with the combat. The actual maps look really good. The weather is cool. I feel like the formation moving is, again, another like gimmicky feature which isn't really utilized enough. They haven't really put enough like into developing it to make it actually interesting to actually use. I didn't really use it. You would have seen in any of the campaign footage. The battle maps themselves are actually really cool. I love the look of them. The asphatic, there's cool terrain scattered around with the mud from rain. Adds a bit more of a dynamic to the battle. However, they're just too goddamn small that you're basically just funneled into, I go forward, you go forward, we attack one another, and we'll see who wins. There's no room for maneuvering, especially if you've got a 20 or 40 man army. You're just going forward and hoping for the best. I really wish the battle maps themselves were like double the size, triple the size. Siege maps are good, like the size of siege maps are fine, but again, the deployment for the attackers is so small, you could have just expanded it. I would have also liked to see the actual units size increased as well. The ultra unit size is pretty abysmal. 120 on ultra seems very low. And a bit disappointing. I think the actual feel of battles is fine for a modern Total War. Again, I would like the battles to last longer. I'd like there to be a bit more weight added to units. Granted, heavy infantry did feel much better than in a previous iteration like Total War Troy. When I was using heavy infantry, it felt like there was closer spacing. I don't know why we've got rid of like shield wall formations. I know we've got them back in the left-hand side where you can kind of advance, hold, and shield wall and stuff. But units don't visibly change. So again, I would love to see that re-implemented into the game where you could actually do cool formations. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Total War Troy. Hopefully I've edited this video down to about 50 minutes so you guys have a good idea about the overall campaign. I am going to do a part 2 to this where I continue on this campaign and fight it in a bit more of a let's play style. I also will be covering Pharaohs up until launch as well, so you guys can have a complete idea about the game. So if you're sitting on the fence about this, or you just want to kind of see, you know, a newer Total War, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. As I said, I'll be live streaming, giving you my honest opinion as I play through it. But let me know what you guys thought of it down below in the comments. Is this something you're looking forward to? Has this gameplay made you want to buy the game or made you not want to buy the game? Please do let me know, as I'm really interested to see the actual community opinion on the game itself. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Once again, I want to say a massive thank you to Enlisted for sponsoring this video. Make sure to enlist using my link in the description and claim your free bonus pack, including multiple weapons, soldiers, and a premium account to get you started.